So we're here at the Republican Jewish Coalition's annual event in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the beautiful Venetian with Vivek Ramaswamy. Thank you so much for coming on, Vivek.
It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. I'm wondering, we see on college campuses, we're at a Jewish event right now, a lot of pro-Hamas sentiment. We see what happened at Harvard, what happened at Cornell, Columbia. What is your comment about what's happening? You're a very popular candidate with our youth. I mean, a lot of people have picked that up. I'm wondering, what's your message to the youth, and what's going on?
My view is the youth in our country, many of them are lost. They're hungry for purpose and meaning and direction, yet they have a gaping hole in their heart, and when you have a vacuum that runs that deep, that is when the poison fills the void. Wokeism, transgenderism, climatism, COVIDism, anti-Semitism, right? It's a symptom of a deeper void because they're lost. That's what I see. So are these students saying some idiotic things? Absolutely. They're downright offensive. But it's a symptom of the fact that they are completely lost. And we as the generation of leaders of young people, at least, need to fill that vacuum with something actually more substantive: faith, patriotism, hard work, family, that dilutes these otherwise poisons to irrelevance. They're blindly marching along some so-called pro-Palestinian protest, having no clue about what actually was the true facts of what even happened on October 7th. So that isn't going to happen overnight, because the problem didn't come into existence overnight. 15 years, I said it on stage, right? You teach young kids to go to Ben & Jerry's and order a cup of ice cream with those anti-Semitic sprinkles. They swallow that. It's no surprise they spew it right back out. That's what's happening. But it's going to take leadership rather than whack-a-mole to actually fix that problem.
And what's happening in the country more broadly, you mentioned there's a spiritual dimension too. Just recently, I was at the inauguration of the largest Hindu temple in New Jersey.
Oh, the Baptist temple?
Yes,
you were there?
yes,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
It's a huge. I there myself.
And a lot of young people too.
Yeah.
And so many people came out. Not even people of Hindu faith came, because a lot of people are looking to return to some form of spirituality. It seems, especially at the youth. There's a shocking rise. Can you speak to the situation more broadly about people's return to faith?
I think people are hungry for faith.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'm so proud of the Jewish American community is how effective the Jewish American community has been in keeping traditions, ancient, millennia-old traditions alive in this country. Something that to date, for example, the Hindu American community has struggled with, although the opening of that temple might have been a good example of an experience that you observed. Same thing with Christians in this country. I mean, I think that many people do not live by the values that they once did, but people are hungry for that. And that's part of the spiritual void in the United States of America. There's an old expression that goes, if you have a hole the size of God in your heart and God doesn't fill it, something else will instead. You don't pledge allegiance to the real flag, you're going to pledge allegiance to a different flag instead. Maybe it's the transgender flag, right? And that's part of what we're seeing across this country, and I think it's what underlies a lot of, even in the last 2 weeks, the shameful behavior we've seen from a generation that is starved for that direction of purpose and meaning. But the positive version of that is, yes, reviving faith, reviving patriotism. These are things that dilute those poisons to irrelevance. And so I'm glad to hear you were there.
And the last question is, we're surrounded by a lot of young people here.
Yeah.
The Epoch Times has just launched our 5-year free student subscription program. I'm wondering if you have some comments about that.
We got students here. You guys like a free subscription? Give them a round of applause for doing that. I think these guys have done a great job for that. I'm glad. I think that we got to think on the timescales of history, not just tomorrow. And I think you guys do have a distinctive perspective that people deserve to hear. I also think that young people right now, many of them feel like the American dream isn't available to them. So, and discretionary expenditure, even if it's an extra subscription to a newspaper or something, when you have TikTok sitting right there, can be tempting to go the other way. So yes, I applaud you for taking the step to saying that not only are we putting our beliefs or our views or our reporting on paper, but we're going to purposefully reach that next generation that's lost. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much for coming on, Vivek.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.